Hello, hello, beautiful soul. Good morning. So, I wanted to make a few little announcements and also have a little Dharma talk. And so, my first announcement is that I am being called to do a little bit more than yoga on my channel here. And so, I super appreciate you being here with me and just doing this yoga with me over the years. And it was really such a way for me to just get into my voice, get more comfortable with my voice, get more comfortable expressing. Okay, so I don't know, maybe some of you know this, maybe some of you don't know this, but I grew up in an environment where I was very, very secluded. And so a lot of my communication skills came from reading books and just from my own internal dialogue. So I grew up on a mountainside with many, many siblings and on a farm, and there wasn't actually a lot of communication. So it was, tending to the animals and maybe grunting. No, I'm just kidding. No, there was no grunting, but it was really, very, very basic communication. Nobody had really talked about their emotions. Nobody really talked about deeper concepts or deeper ideas or what was really going on. And, part of me thinks that, some of the reason why we didn't talk about that was because, it was like, when you're growing up on a farm and there's a level of grittiness that you must have. So, emotions, there was really not a lot of space for them. And so as I got older and realized like, oh, I'm a deep feeler, I'm very intuitive, I'm sitting on the mountain every day and feeling deeply and really starting to see things, starting to see a bigger picture of things, starting to understand things that maybe a lot of people couldn't even really explain. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like having our five senses and then having like another sense. So, anyways, when I first started teaching yoga, which was in 2017, I had this major, major, major shift in my voice. Like the first class that I ever taught, oh my gosh, it was so scary. It was so scary, y'all. Like I was shaking, I was nervous, I was trembling. I would even have to meditate for like at least an hour before the class to just settle my nerves, and that was something else for sure because you never really quite let go of those jitters until you're actually in the class and getting to know people, right? Which was also, another animal was to get to know people on a deeper, more intimate level, right? Getting for people to share their story with me, for people to share, their body, what's going on with their body, what's going on with their mental health. I started getting all of these insights on, oh, this is how other people live too, not just me. This is really interesting, that people go through these things, or, you know, these are how relationships really work. I never actually really got to experience like a deeper level of intimacy. And when I say intimacy, I mean an emotional intimacy, right? A real deep connection, connecting with someone, right? Sharing your insights, asking deeper questions, understanding someone, right? I have a teacher and she says, don't try to love someone, try to understand them, right? Because you can try to love a fish, but when you try to love a fish in the way that you love to be loved, you might love to snuggle and you might love to hold, but that fish wants to be in the water and needs to be underwater in order to stay alive. So every single person has these different type of needs that we need to get met. And so when you start to learn how someone works and what they need, you can love them so much deeper than actually giving them what you think they need, which is probably what you need. So on a side note, you can look at, the five love languages, but that's kind of off on a tangent. So, as I started teaching yoga and as I started learning that my voice is safe to use and that there's a message in here, that's really powerful if I use it out here. Okay, but using it out here is a little bit different because, there's like this fluid way that we're thinking. And so when it's coming out, being translated through words, that's something that I'm getting better at on camera. It's something I can do very well in person, but it's something that I want to get better at on camera for you because I have some really amazing insights that are just pretty profound and incredible. Okay, so it's less about me, it's more about sharing a message. It's more about sharing a message. And so I could do that through yoga as I was making all of these YouTube videos, these yoga videos, and some of them are so just made so straight from the heart. And now I have been really feeling called to be a little bit more vocal and doing, yes, my movement still, but more on this vocal side to translate a message from the higher realms, from spirit. And so I am here to share that with you and to, dive a little bit deeper with that. And so I just want to say thank you so much for being on this journey with me because, wow, some of you are actually coming from my old YouTube channel, which had, thousands and thousands of subscribers. And then YouTube took it down because I had some, Abraham Hicks motivational quotes on there or something on there. And so, it got copywritten. And so the channel got taken down. And so, that really disheartened me a lot to have my channel taken down because I was putting up so many cool vlogs about the journey and it was just so much fun and incredible to just document that. But then when all those videos were deleted, I can't tell you what that did to me, but it made me not take YouTube so seriously. And so that's why, y'all, that's why I'm posting so infrequent because, maybe I need to heal that little piece that is like, oh, but I'm at peace with it. But now, I am moving along and I would like to post in these different ways. Okay, because I used to love doing vlogs. It was like one of my favorite things to do. I've always been doing vlogs ever since I was like 18. I literally have on my shelf probably, I don't know, maybe 100 videos from when I was probably 18. This was back in the day. Back in the day! Yeah, so I was 18 and I always carried around a camcorder. It was one of those little ones that you had to hold with both hands. But it was, or with one hand. But yeah, I would videotape like my family, I would videotape my siblings, I would videotape my adventures, I videotape the whole time I lived in Mexico. And so, I want to kind of get back into that. So anyways, this is kind of my intro of, I'm going to get back into speaking on camera. Oh my God. So I want to let you know that I did Toastmasters for like 5 years to get better at my communication. And so, I'm sharing this. I know a lot of you know this already, but I want to share this for the first time publicly so that you have an understanding of, what to expect and where I really want to go with this. So, I would love to keep you as a subscriber and continue this journey and of course, post yoga videos as well. And honestly, like there's so many great YouTube channels for yoga as well. But I know that, every person has a different type of energy. So, I don't want to steer away from the yoga. I just want to steer into a little bit more of Dharma talk and a little bit more of, these daily insights because, you know, all right, so I did Vipassana, the 10-day silent meditation retreat. Um, you're not supposed to read, write, um, watch anything on your phone, respond to messages. You're supposed to really turn inward, right? Even looking at someone who's also in the retreat can have you be overthinking what were they thinking in the moment that you made eye contact with them. So you're not even supposed to actually look at someone. So these 10-day silent retreats, I did 7 of them. Okay. So what happened, right, was that I shed all of the crap. I shed all of this crap that was just, other people's opinions, um, you know, society rules and standards for how you're supposed to live your life. What's my deep truth? Really, I always had asked for outside influence on decisions. But now it's been also, now that I started teaching yoga, it's been more of a journey of, okay, I have the truth within me, just like you have your truth within you. Okay? And it's really about tapping into that. And so sometimes it's a little bit difficult because we always have people that we care about or people that we look up to, and we want to put their opinion into perspective for us. But one of the most powerful things is to truly, deeply ask yourself where you stand on a certain subject. And then, if you want to, instead of asking for a human's opinion, ask for your higher self. Right? Ask for that highest wisdom to come down to give you some clarity. Okay? Because it's there. It's there for you. It's there for you. Okay, let me get this. This is one of the first messages that I had. I framed it because this is something that I got before I ever did the Vipassana meditation. I framed it. It's from a fortune cookie, and then literally right after, I found 3 4-leaf clovers, and this is a little white and black feather. Okay, so this fortune cookie says, clear your mental, emotional, and psychic space, and you'll see. I was like, that came from a fortune cookie? Clear your mental, emotional, and psychic space, and you'll see. Okay, I keep that with me. It's a very important message because it was just like, you'll see what, and how do I clear my mental, emotional, and psychic space? Like, how does one even go about that? Well, Vipassana. Okay, so that is basically being present with yourself, being present with your emotions. Okay, and so a lot of my yoga now is about being super present with whatever's happening in the moment. Doesn't matter what's happening in the moment. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad or ugly or happy or sad. Be right there with it. You don't have to be, in a good feeling space all the time to be an acceptable person in society, to be your best version, right? Sometimes it really is about being present so we can release these layers, okay? These layers, what the yogis call the granthis, which are these karmic knots, okay? Now, for some of us, right? And so I wanted to talk to you this morning because I just got off a coaching call with one of my clients about her granthis, okay? So these granthis are these knots that layer up and layer up and layer up. And so we all have them, okay? These are all aspects of us. And basically, they're emotions that get tied up in the body, and then they turn into a physical thing, something that is physical that's happened in the body, okay? So it could be really tight elbows. It could be that you have a deep shoulder, pain all the time, right? For me, I used to take responsibility for everybody, but it was probably because I didn't want to look at me, okay? So anyways, I had very tight shoulders, very tight upper back, okay? But now that I used to take responsibility for others. Become a superpower because I know where to draw the line, but I'm also very good at it. Okay, it's something that I've always been very good at, right? So your weakness becomes your superpower. Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about it. Okay, so with these karmic knots, this granthis, it's basically something that happens for you emotionally, right? That piles up, and then if we don't tend to it, it becomes a physical problem. Okay, now we can always get rid of a physical problem unless it becomes such a problem. Like, for example, we've seen people who have really bad knees, bone on bone. Okay, that is something a little bit different, right? Because it's now a physical problem. It's no longer just a metaphysical or emotional problem. It's become so deep that we actually have to do some very deep inner work to shift this. And if we don't, it will get worse. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about today was relationships. Okay. So overgiving in relationships, overgiving, giving more than what you're feeling in your heart is right to give. This could be overgiving your time. This could be overgiving gifts. This could be overgiving absolutely anything. Okay, now this is a thing. Let's separate this. You could be overgiving out of good old low self-esteem. Okay, you could be overgiving from that perspective. You also could be overgiving from good old, I love to give, right? It feels good to give. You feel inspired to give. But then all of a sudden you're giving too much. What I want to talk about today is balancing that out. Okay? Because it's not always about breaking off the relationship, breaking off the connection, or even saying something to the other person. Sometimes it's not even about making that big decision, but sometimes it's about just sitting down with yourself and just being real and honest with yourself. Oh, you know what? I am overgiving. And being with that emotion, because you might feel a little sense of resentment. You might feel a little sense of anger. You might feel a little sense of, okay, if I stop doing this, how is the dynamic of the relationship going to change? Okay, so after you sit with it and think about it, and I want you to do that right now. I want you to just take a moment to think about, okay, how are you really overgiving? Why are you overgiving? Okay, let's identify that. Because and just be genuinely honest, this is not something you have to share with absolutely anyone. This is for you. This is just for you. And this is your time to tap in. Okay, so let's just take a deep breath in. Okay, just let it all go. Let it all go and just relax your shoulders. Okay, relax your belly. Make sure you're in a good, comfortable space. Okay, make sure you're in a space where you can just relax every muscle. Okay, I want you to think about the dynamic in your connection. Okay, because it could be coming from any angle, but that doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you a dumb person. That makes you make dumb decisions in that moment, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean you're a dumb person. That just means that you're not used to having like a reciprocation in there. And so that's what we want to get to. Okay, it's not as easy as, well, stop overgiving. It's not as easy as that. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get into that gray space. Okay, so there's the act of overgiving. There's the act of not giving jack diddly squat. Okay, what's that gray spot in the middle? Okay, let's sit with that for a moment. Okay, because being in the subtle spaces is where everything happens. Okay, it's where so much shift happens. Okay, to be in that gray area. All right, so on this coaching call this morning, my client was, basically, she starts seeing someone and they're having a really good time, but then she starts over giving gifts. Like it could be little trinkets. It could be like, for example, um, she's bringing a dessert over to his house, and they've been spending a lot of time at his house because he's been very busy. So we know how, divine masculine, they're working. They are in their masculine work, so they're a little busy. But that doesn't mean we need to go over there and make it easy for them to just go enjoy our company. No, especially if it's new. No, we want to take a step back. Yes, there is a desire to go see that person. There is a desire to go make their life easy, to bring them the dessert, to, go give them a hug, to go squeeze them. But let me tell you something. Their job also is to prioritize what's important. So you need to think about this. Who is prioritizing what? Where is the energy going? Okay? Now, take a step back. Forget about that person. It's not even about the person. It wasn't even about the guy. Okay? Yes, the guy or the girl or whatever in your case, right? Who I'm talking to, you. Okay? They are just the catalyst, right? I feel like an Italian. They are just the catalyst to make you realize your pattern, okay? Because it's not even about them. It's not even about this person, okay? This is about your pattern and that they are the perfect person that is allowing you to play this out, okay? So this is perfect because actually they don't even matter in the situation. Okay? Let's take a step back from even the relationship. Let's take a moment to focus on that feeling that you're feeling deep within yourself, right here and now. Okay? Right? This is some powerful stuff right here. Because I want you to sink into that feeling where, okay, you're feeling it deep in your heart. You might be feeling it around your chest, your shoulders, your stomach. Right? That deep knowing, okay, fuck, I am overgiving. Okay. And yes, this person is playing out that role, but it could be that person. It could be your mother. It could be your uncle. It could be anyone that you're overgiving to. It could be your sister. We all do it. We all do it. We're all overgiving in some way. Okay, so stop it right there. And let's take a moment to tune into this. Okay? Let's sink into this feeling. Let's allow ourselves to actually feel this. What are you feeling? Are you feeling worry that you are overgiving and what that means? Good. Are you feeling a little bit like you've been doing this for a long time, so you're feeling a little bit more on the resentful spectrum? Good. I want you to feel this. Okay? I want you to feel this energy because that is actually the truth of where you are on that matter. It's actually the truth of where you are on that matter. And you cannot change anything unless you be with that feeling and raise your frequency around it. Okay? So the lowest energy that we can feel is fear. Okay? Now let's say you're feeling fear about it. Let's say you're feeling fear about, well, if I stop doing this, I might lose the relationship. All right? I'm going to say the angels are coming in with this light. The angels are here. This is a truth message. Okay? If you're feeling fear about the topic, It's safe. You're safe to feel fear. It's okay that you're feeling fear because we're going to mosey out of fear. Okay, so you're starting at fear. In order to feel better, you need to feel guilt. Okay, I know that this might be very unconventional, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. Okay, if you're feeling fear, the better vibration from fear is guilt. Okay, if you're feeling guilt, the better vibration from guilt is shame. If you're feeling shame, the better vibration to feel is rage or hatred or anger. If you're feeling angry, the better way to feel is revenge. Okay, I'm not saying that you should go get revenge. I'm not saying that it's good for you to feel guilt. I'm not saying that it's good for you to feel all these feelings, but I'm saying that you need to process right now these feelings to get to a better feeling space. Because if you just gloss over it, you're doing a disservice. You're not being real. You are being what they call what is that word that they call? Toxic positivity. Okay? Let me see. And we do not want that, because a toxic positivity means you have your granthis, right? Your karmic knot. And you're glossing over it. You're still going to have that knot, baby girl. You're still going to have that knot. Glossing over it with positive emotions, you are still going to have that knot. I did that for years, and it's called denial. And it means you might be it might be too hard for you to see what's really there, if that makes sense. Okay? So anyways, let's take a few moments to sit with this feeling. Okay? Because for me, I might feel something, but it's hard to put a word to it, right? You just feel it because it's hard to put the words down. Okay? So I want you to just close your eyes and relax your entire body. Let this feeling know I'm completely here with you now. I am completely here with you now. I am completely here with you now. And I am here with you, and I'm not going anywhere. And so, let yourself feel all the layers. And as we are present with each layer, they softly dissipate. The layers might feel very intense and very uncomfortable, but they will begin to soften and open up and release. Okay, very softly. And they might even open up and be there and linger. They might linger for a day or two. So, this is where I say, if you need a one-on-one, let me know. Okay? Because I can support you through this. Okay? But if you think you can do it, this is the process. It's being present, deeply present, until it releases. Okay? And it will release. It will release. It will take time, but it will release. So just be with it. Okay? Now, I have met a friend, and this could happen to you, where he was like, I'm getting anxiety, and so we're very present with it, right? But then, as soon as we get present with it, it'll like completely vanish. It'll go away. And, that will happen. And that's basically the body still covering it up because it hasn't really processed it. If you're allowing yourself to feel it, you'll feel it deeply. You'll feel it for at least the moment that we've been talking right now. You're going to really feel it. If you feel absolutely nothing, that means your body needs to know that it's okay to feel that feeling. Okay, I know this is some deep SHIII. I know this is some deep stuff. Okay, but I know you got this. All right. So let's talk about what to do when overgiving in connection. Okay, first of all, you don't have to tell the person, I'm overgiving and I'm ready to stop. Okay, you don't want to do that because that person is used to your action. And the truth is, if you go and give someone an ultimatum, they may not believe you because you may not even be ready to follow through with that ultimatum. You might be ready right now in this moment because you're feeling pissed. Okay. But what I want you to do is take a moment to rest it out and just feel it. Okay, I want you to think of actions that you can take in this time. Okay, like for example, on my coaching call. Okay, great guy, they're having a great connection. He's been very, very busy. Okay, they are exclusive. They are in a relationship. That might mean that if she goes over to his house and brings something or spends some time, she's not spending the night. She's leaving. She might spend an hour there, but you have a time limit, a time restraint, because they do not get access to the full amount that you were giving before, not because they don't deserve it or anything like that, not because they're a bad person, but more because these boundaries are going to feel good in your heart. So as you're sinking down into your body, I want you to ask yourself, what boundaries feel good in your heart? You know the answer more than I do. Okay? What boundary feels good in your heart? And for this particular client, the boundary that felt good was, okay, I am no longer going to spend the night, okay? Because you want to allow space for the other person to come to you. If you're continuously going to them, or even if you're in the middle and you're coming right, left and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you still want to take a space back. So to see if they're going to come forward, to see if they're going to meet you. Okay, so what can you do? What kind of boundary can you set up so that then they can meet you? Okay, what kind of foundation do you need for you, not for them? This has nothing to do with them. This has nothing to do with they're sucking all my energy, they're a narcissist. That's not it. I mean, it could be it, because obviously we have different scenarios, and this is a more general view, okay? But this is actually about you and what you're willing to give before you're really realizing what feels good to give. So right now we're talking about what feels really good to give. Okay, so what I want you to sink down, what feels really good to give. Okay? You might have a moment where you might feel like crying. You might have a moment where you might feel like overwhelmed, and that is okay. Your overgiving might even be that you're getting super dressed up on a date, and they're like, had a long day, so they're casual. And you might have to ask yourself, is this the right connection? Am I willing to walk away? And this isn't walking away because you're angry. This isn't walking away because you're frustrated at them. This isn't walking away because you feel that they're taking advantage of you. This is you walking away because you have a problem with your own boundaries and you know that you cannot be strong in their presence. Right? It's like there's a Black Hawk song from the early 90s country that I love. I'm not strong enough to say no. Okay? You have to be strong enough to say no, baby girl. Okay? Are you strong enough to say no? If you're not strong enough to say no, you might need some reinforcements. Call upon the angels. Okay? You might need to call upon the higher wisdom. Let me tell you. Okay? But so in every relationship, there are dynamics. There are dynamics in every single relationship, right? Like in some relationships, you are funny AF, right? Like everybody be cracking up because you're freaking got that vibe, okay? In another relationship, you're like the serious one, you know? Okay, what relationship dynamic do you have genuinely in this connection, and is it healthy and safe for you? Okay, ask yourself that and be willing to be honest. Now, you might even realize, you know what? I don't have the strength to say no. Now what? Okay, good. Sit with it. Again, this is not about them. They are just the catalyst to bring this energy for you to look at, girl, okay? And that's what we want, okay? So if you are genuinely in a connection that feels whatever way you're feeling right now, let's take this time to sit with it. Let's take this time to sit with it, okay? Dan, like, okay, I was talking with another client, okay, a guy, and he was like, I don't know. Now, these are not my words. These are his words. He's like, I don't know what turned me into a whiny little bee. And he said the word, B-I. In this connection, I'm like, shoot, I don't freaking know. You're going to have to ask yourself deeply and honor and really be very truthful about it, because you can joke, oh yeah, I'm a whiny little bee, and still gloss over it. It's that grantes, right? You could say, oh yeah, this, but not really being truthful about it, just glossing over it, like making it a joke. It's not a joke. Okay, this is some real stuff. This is some real stuff. So sit with it. Sit with this feeling. Sit with why am I this way in this dynamic? Okay, why are you this way in this dynamic in particular? Is this dynamic a healthy dynamic for you? Now, if it's an unhealthy dynamic, we already know what to do. We got to move on. We got to find a healthy connection for us. If it's something that you can navigate and work through, perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so something you can navigate and work through is where you can be very subtle. The key is to be very subtle. You don't need to go, I'm sick of overgiving. Like I'm sick of this, I'm sick of that. No, you need to take all that anger and turn it inward, get angry at yourself. Okay, and I'm not talking about self-loathing, and I'm not talking about abusing yourself. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about using it as fuel, using it as energy, taking that energy to take action on yourself, to take action on your boundaries when it's difficult, to say something when it needs to be said, right? Like let's say it's very difficult for you to advocate for yourself in relationship. If it's very difficult for you to advocate for yourself in relationship, you need to come up with a plan. Okay, so for me, the way that I do this sometimes, if it's really difficult, because sometimes it is, I like to think of it as this. Okay, you can say things when they're at a 1 or a 2 or a 3, or you can say things when they're at a 6 or a 7 or an 8. When they're at a 6 or a 7 or an 8, it's much more difficult to come back to a 1 or 2. You can. It's possible. But it could take a lot of, intense emotions, and it could take a lot of de-escalation, and it could take a lot of conflict resolution skills. And if you are used to going to 6, 7, or an 8, or even a 5, 6, 7, 8, you typically do not have those skills, because if you did have those skills, you would be saying things that when they're at a 1 or a 2 or a 3. Okay, so let's take a step back. In order to know if they're at a 1 or a 2 or a 3, you have to get in touch with your emotions. Okay, again, it's not about the other person. It's about getting in touch with your own emotions. Okay, so when speaking about something that's a 1 or a 2 or 3, and it's actually difficult for you to say, hey, I'm just going to clean this. Hey, okay, so let's say, let me see if I can move this. Let's say let's say you're tapped into your emotions, but it's still difficult for you to say when it's a 1 or a 2 or a 3. What you can do is you can say to your friend or your partner or your family member, hey, I'm at a 1 or a 2 or a 3 on this. And you could explain the scale of 1 to 10 so they can understand, and say, this is a little difficult for me to share, but I am at a 1 or a 2 or 3, and I don't want it to get to like a 4 or a 5 or a 6. Right? Because getting to a 4 or 5 or 6 could be as little as 24 hours. I've been there. Okay, it could take as simple as 24 hours. I'm blocking the light from this camera. Okay, so all right. So anyways, there's so many places to go. Okay, if you need some one-on-one coaching, one-on-one support, just let me know. Send me a message. All right, I'm always here for you. I've coached so many people. Okay, I've coached people going through divorce. I've coached people with that have different fetish, interesting styles of loving. Okay, I've coached people for self-acceptance. I've coached people for their spiritual journey. I've coached people for processing emotions. I've coached so many things. Okay, and so it's just incredible. It's incredible how deep we can really go if we allow ourselves to go there. And so I'm willing to go there with you. If you need that support, just let me know. Okay, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will talk with you again in the next video. And let me know if you like this Dharma talk. If you thought it was helpful for you, just leave me a comment below. And of course, to help the algorithm, you can like the video. I know you're already subscribed, but if you're not, then you better subscribe for all these beautiful videos, okay? And I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I know you got this. I know that you got this. I know it's not easy. It can be very challenging, but I know that you got this because you're here watching this, and this is for you. Okay? So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Okay? Bye, honey.